The climate of Toro today is a good example of it. It is very extreme. It is not a desert. But we are not that far, as we have approximately 300 liters of rainfall per year, which is very little. And we have more than 3,000 hours of sunlight per year, which is a lot. This obviously has its pros and cons. Regarding the vine diseases, it is wonderful because doing basically nothing, we have an ecologic viticulture. It may not be officially certified ecologic, but it's the same. The grape production level uses to be smaller than in other regions up the Duero River. And we are lucky to count with the Tinta de Toro variety, which I claim not to be Tempranillo. We can argue here for a long time, but it is a variety that has adapted to these conditions for a long time, to this climate, to this terroir. We can call it what we want. It all makes it develop very well. It is easy. While in other places they have more challenges like frosts, or too much humidity and the corresponding diseases. Here in Toro we are privileged to have this climate. And this variety that guarantees very good harvests. There are not many slopes around here. Obviously there are differences whether you are facing the south or the north. Sometimes we look to avoid the sun. The orography, this could be a good example of the orography of the area. They are usually gentle slopes. In the end, the River Duero is governing the landscape. Regarding the soil, there are some differences. In the northern areas, particularly in Valladolid or Morales de Toro, there is more clay, while in this part, in the south, we are now in Valdefinjas. The soil is deeper and sandy, and we find stones. These rolling stones are very common around here. The nice thing is that the clay is underneath, 2, 3, 4 meters underneath, it depends, and this helps retaining the little water that falls. We know what works. You need to plow the plot a couple of times, perhaps 3 per year, a bit of sulfur and copper, a couple of times also as the climate helps. Pruning is not complicated. These are low bunches. Sometimes we try to raise the vines to get the grapes further from the ground to avoid animals, for example. We practice a very traditional viticulture. The climate and the adaptation are key here. The leaf is more hairy here. Not easy to see now as it is not fully developed yet, but it is very clear around harvest time. The reverse of the leaf has way more hair than in Rioja, for example, where they have more humidity. It is an adaptation to drought. It is a way to control transpiration. It conserves water better. The grape is smaller as well and production is smaller. This results in more concentration of sugars and tannins. It is a question of looking for an equilibrium with the acidity, which is the key in viticulture. Equilibrium with the acidity. Our method of elaboration is very artisan. I have my technical training, but in the end, we put in practice what we learned from our grandparents. In all our wines, we are ultimate defenders of Tinta de Toro and the traditional elaboration method. In the end, it is minimum intervention. I like to say that my wines are logical. Now we have an extended palette of colors with biologic, biodynamic. Here, fortunately, because of our climate, so dry, it's very easy to minimally intervene in the wine. Aside of that, Tinta de Toro is a grape with huge potential even when it comes to acidity. Although I try to make them easy to drink, which is what we all want, I remember at the beginning, all I saw were people drinking beer more than wine. Well, I wanted them to get closer to the world of wine. These are wines with more moderate alcohol levels. We are talking about 13.5 or 14% ABV, with an acidity that equilibrates the drink. This is a wine, it's true, it's a modern style of wine. It is easy to make a wine that you like without abandoning the Toro character. In the end, if it is called Toro, it must be strong and red. Making wine is to read the vineyard. If you know your vine and how it reacts to the vintage and different circumstances, that needs to be transmitted into the wine. It seems easy, but it's not so easy. French oak 98 or 99% of the times. We also have Americans. I use oak as if I was searching for colors. We bring wines from different vineyards and we place it in different barriques. They become variables. Then I look into a barrique with more or less toasting level, from one cooper or another, until the wine comes closer to the one you want to make. I wanted to try this wine that comes from a vineyard that we call La Higuera or Pio Viejo. It is a vineyard we have started to vinify in this vintage of 2021. It has enormous potential, but I still don't know very well if it will be a vineyard wine or not. I still don't know how long it will stay in barrique.